Yeah, that's right. Fan Diction. Hey everybody. So the golden age of the Japanese RPG may have waned a bit in recent years, but there's still hundreds of the bastards out there to be discovered. But most of us are busy people who haven't had 20 years to play a shit ton of them, figure out which ones are worth playing. Now I am not among that number. So the inspiration for this video came when I saw an article on GameSpot about the top 26 must-play JRPGs, and I grew a little bit concerned. So I set out to make a shorter list of games that encompasses most of the feeling and gameplay styles of JRPGs, but won't take you the rest of your natural-born life to burn through. Now, there's no Persona or Shin Megami Tensei in this video. They're great games, I make no qualms about that. I don't consider any of them to be completely needed for the JRPG experience. Ni no Kuni is the most beautiful game I've ever seen, but the gameplay kind of sucks ass. I decided not to mention any Mario game because everybody knows Mario. You know, I have a deep love for both Mario RPG and the Paper Mario series, except for that god-awful sticker star. Sorry, I was having a little moment there. But yeah, otherwise they're great, but everybody knows them. So this is my personal list of, not necessarily favorites, though I do love them all, but the ones that, in my opinion, together give a total JRPG experience. Some are super duper obvious, and some mean a lot to just me and a few buddies growing up, but not most other people. Yeah, there's no order or numbering, because, you know, it's not like what's best from 1 to 8. It's just 8 of the games on Jazz's personal RPG introduction guide. And yeah, there's one franchise on this list that shows up in 2 spots. You could probably guess it in an RPG list. Anyway, let's go roleplay. Legend of Legaia. Atmosphere. Let's go off the beaten path a bit to a game with, at best, a cult following. Let's meet Vaughn, a quiet character that one of my earliest friends liked so much he converted into his online handle. Let's watch him and a few close friends explore the natural themes of Legaia and try to defeat Evil Mist? Why? Legaia has to be the most JRPG game I've ever played. There are extraordinarily boring bits. I will not argue against that. So while the combat hasn't aged terribly well, there are some specific targeting of enemies things that add a layer of depth to it. As a youth, the primitive graphics kind of hinted at a world to explore, and I had to know what mystical creatures lurk beyond the mist. I mean, even ditching the nostalgia glasses, I think there's a lot to love and a lot to hate here. Final Fantasy VII, for example, tried to have a ton of metaphors about the natural world, and that failed pretty hard. Legaia is different in that it transports you to a world unlike your own, with a story that's admittedly unbelievably generic by our current standards, but felt pretty damn cool at the time. What? What do you mean Final Fantasy did that exact storyline in the first couple? We're not even talking about Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Tactical Combat. What the shit, where am I? I guess we're talking about Final Fantasy now? Everybody knows the franchise. Fewer have played a little title for the Game Boy Advance, which is basically cartoony characters murdering each other in a very violent chess match. Final Fantasy Tactics was actually a series of games spun off from the core group of turn-based RPGs / hallway simulations we know and love. The game starts with a tutorial segment, hold your groans please, that turns into a snowball fight that teaches you the attacking and cover functions. It's genius. I love this game. In fact, I get chills thinking about the depth of the job system and how many different configurations of things you have to give you untold abilities, and how many hours I got out of that simple portable game. I probably played it 100 hours. It just has really great tactical combat. It really shows you how to use it in a very interesting way, and you have all kinds of different kinds of races. It's wonderful. That's really all I have to say on Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. It's my favorite of that series by far. Legend of Mana. Real-time battle. Hold the pitchforks, people. Yes, Legend of Mana was almost universally panned for changing the very core of the classic Mana RPG series. Well, fuck you, it's my favorite. I don't have to explain myself to you. You're my real dad. Ron, I hate you. Sorry, I guess the whole point of a list is to explain why things are on said list. I still love you, Ron. Even though you fucked my mom. Sorry, it's not your fault. Where was I going? Okay, so it's more of an action game this time around. The story is totally disjointed and weird, but I love the colorful backgrounds and, more importantly, the free-flowing feel of the real-time combat. RPG games can have a completely turn-based system and be fine, and in this game they can also feature a full run-around weapon/kick-assitude situation and be super rad too. Just pick a side, game designers. Yeesh. Time for probably the most cliche title on the list with Earthbound. Diverse baddies. Everybody knows this one, so I'll focus on my favorite aspect of this cutesy, quirky Japanese classic. The diverse and downright bizarre enemies. The combat's exactly what you get in a Super Nintendo. You know, kind of a turn-based RPG, but once you dive into the meat of this game, it just hands down some of my favorite enemy sprites. So let's play a game. I'll list an enemy from Earthbound, and you tell me if it's real or not. Go. Starman. Smelly Ghost. Mad Duck. Cheesy Stevie. Insane Cultist. Kiss of Death. High Class UFO. Yeah, the only one I made up was Cheesy Stevie, and in that list it didn't even seem that far-fetched. Okay, next. Kingdom Hearts 2 crossovers / convoluted story. Kingdom Hearts 1 was kind of dong. I have a soft spot for it as well, my friends, in my heart of hearts. But I can man up and admit being in love with things that kind of suck. Now, Kingdom Hearts II sucked a bit less for several reasons that other smarter people than me think made the first game far superior. The slow build of playing as another character and learning how the game works for like the first 3 hours can be annoying to some people if you like your stories with instant gratification. And Jesus H. Cinnamon Christ, this game has a nonsense story. Luckily, said bullshit tied together with better scenarios and a long-winded but ultimately better sense of progression than number 1, in my opinion. Like the first game, when the writers didn't know what to do, they just tossed 2 darts at a board with columns that said emotion word and adjective to see what happened. But it's supposed to be an RPG kids can enjoy too. Except they can't, because no kid has the patience to grind up Thondaga in a different world to beat a boss in their current world. The second one also references things like Tron and really old Disney cartoons in the black and white stuff. Kids aren't going to get that. I don't know, maybe they just did a better job pandering to my generation as I grow up. But it's a good first taste of the JRPG life with fun and silly crossovers. Just be glad I didn't mention Ehrgeiz, God Bless the Ring. The less said about that, the better. Now that was a crossover. Star Ocean, Until the End of Time, Director's Cut. Unshitting, a lackluster experience. Star Ocean is a phenomenal series in my eyes, and cutting that down to one of many games was not easy for me. And so, I picked a bad one by some accounts. But this entry is about one of the few times adding stuff to a game and calling it a re-release actually worked out. So they released the new version of this game on the PS4, or what am I saying? PlayStation 4? God, fuck. PlayStation 2 in 2004. God, it's right there on my script. What the fuck is... And it added new content and characters to play, as without breaking the overall experience. The game is full-on 3D, and to give Sony credit, shit looks pretty nice. After this game, Star Ocean went to sleep and never really fully recovered for many years. I never played the first Star Ocean on the Super Famicom, and I don't really feel like emulating it. So Till the End of Time was the 4th installment, and it just clicked with me more than the prior installments. This director's cut was a welcome addition, and I can't wait to see all the ways they fuck up the re-release of Final Fantasy VII. Speaking of, Final Fantasy VI. It's just really good, and a really good series. I don't know, go play it. Everything about it's basically the best. I don't know, man. Shit. Chrono Trigger. The world map isn't asinine garbage, that's a total disconnect from the fighting. So, Earthbound was cool and all, but Chrono Trigger really showed what the Super Nintendo was capable of producing. I could talk forever about the whole time travel thing, or how the world is sort of based on our own real past, but with a few slight differences, but that's not what this is all about. What I think is most novel is related to my earlier complaining about the blending of action and turn-based systems, the action battle system. The trigger difference here is that in the transition to battle, there's an unusual choice of having the battles take place exactly where you are on the map, instead of transporting to some weird, easy-to-animate backdrop. You just see a monster on the map, and you fight it. I mean, it sounds so simple now, but it was revolutionary at the time, and it really gives you an idea that you're really in this world. Also, as a side note, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the 13 possible endings to the game. That was not a common practice in the early 90s, or on the Super Nintendo, so good on you, Chrono Trigger. You're fucking awesome. Even the PlayStation port in 1999 was cool. That's really all I have to say about Chrono Trigger. That's all of them for now. Why am I yelling? So yeah, I decided not to do a top 10 because everybody does them, and I'm trying to create, a short list of things with interesting aspects. I'm addressing some of the best parts of JRPGs, the characters, the mechanics, and the like as a total package. This is sort of my 101 course in what you should play if you're like my roommate and have never beaten a JRPG in your life. I will feed you baby birds. I will hold your hands as you walk on the razor's edge. And now you can fly across the red and white Japanese sky. I don't really know how to end a scripted video, because I've never really done one. So, penis. Subscribe. Also like and comment, whatever else you want to do.